Off the coast of Okayama, Shimotsui Port brings in a heavy haul. Fishermen here spend their days cutting aggressively through rough ocean swells to pull in a daily catch defined by intensely flavored, oily blue-backed fish. Heavy, oil-rich seafood like this demands a specific kind of liquid pairing. A highly aromatic, sweet sake would compete with the meal and fatigue the palate. Local cuisine requires a supporting actor, a sake that stays out of the way until it's time to cleanse the palate. Sankan Shuzo engineered its entire brewing philosophy around providing this exact profile. They specialized in delivering a rich, dry finish with a robust body and a sharp snap, designed specifically to cut through the oils of the local catch. The brewery traces its roots back to 1806. Through the 19th and early 20th centuries, they built a towering reputation, eventually earning prestigious certificates of commendation from the emperor in 1903 and 1911. But that legacy masked a quiet vulnerability. In its later decades, Sankan relied heavily on okeori, the practice of brewing sake in bulk on contract for massive commercial corporations. When those corporate contracts were suddenly terminated, the brewery had no independent safety net. Without the infrastructure to immediately sell directly to consumers, the financial strain became insurmountable. In the year 2000, Sankan Shuzo suspended all sake production. The historic white-walled storehouses lining the quiet canal fell into decay, and the vats sat completely empty. The shutdown removed the culinary counterweight that the region's heavy, oily seafood had relied on for nearly 2 centuries. The local dining table had lost its balancing force. For 10 years, the facility remained dormant. Then, in 2010, the 7th-generation head of the family, Masumi Maehata, made the decision to step into the void and resurrect the family heritage from scratch. The reality of the revival was brutal. The facility had been stripped of any modern equipment, leaving Masumi to endure grueling, solitary manual labor day after day in a dark, empty warehouse. Effort alone could not compensate for the lack of proper infrastructure. Those early batches suffered severe quality degradation, drawing sharp criticism and proving that the brewery needed a dramatic operational overhaul. Masumi pivoted. To break the cycle of failure, he brought in an outside master brewer, a toji, to completely rebuild their production framework. Together, they implemented a highly specialized dual methodology. They merged the manual, intuitive cellaring techniques of the traditional Bichu Toji Guild with rigorous, scientifically tracked digital data. Using government subsidies, they installed state-of-the-art machinery. This hardware allowed them to enforce incredibly precise rice washing controls and temperature management, flattening into a stable baseline that guaranteed premium consistency across every batch. By 2019, they completed a massive renovation of their century-old rice milling storehouse. The physical restoration of the property stood as the final proof of their hard-fought technical recovery. With the production baseline secured, Masumi locked the brewery's focus entirely on local agriculture. He restricted Sankan's sake rice selection exclusively to grains grown within Okayama Prefecture. They brew with just 2 specific varieties. The famous Omachi strain provides a pillowy, robust rice umami, while Asahi, a table rice variety, delivers a clean, sharp snap free of off flavors. To process that rice, they draw on a moderately soft groundwater known as Mikoya no Misu. It is purified naturally, filtering downward through thick subterranean layers of granitic rock in the Kojima region. This spring carries a deep regional history of its own, having served as the primary drinking source that quenched the intense thirst of local salt pan laborers generations ago. Despite bubbling up so close to the sea, the water is entirely sodium-free. Instead, it holds a highly balanced, pure mineral composition. In the fermentation tanks, those specific minerals act as a catalyst. They fiercely stimulate yeast activity, driving a vigorous fermentation process that extracts the maximum potential out of the Okayama rice. Masumi had engineered a highly precise scientific system dedicated entirely to extracting and bottling the raw terroir of his home prefecture. Today, that rebuilt century-old milling storehouse functions as a direct retail shop, complete with an educational exhibition and a modern kakuuchi standing bar. Here, visitors test the brewery's core philosophy firsthand. matching local appetizers with 3 distinct specifications of Sankan sake to experience the culinary synergy themselves. The estate leverages its pristine water source year-round, serving ginjo sake lees shaved ice in the summer, and hosting exclusive local soba noodle festivals on the grounds. But inside the fermentation rooms, the brewers are pushing into a highly difficult technical frontier, mastering traditional Kimoto zukuri. This method requires them to deliberately shun commercial lab-grown yeast cultures. Instead, they rely entirely on capturing the wild, ambient yeasts floating naturally in the air and living within the wooden walls of the brewery itself. The result of this process is their premium Wida series. The wild yeast creates a heavy, complex structure, balanced by a deep, multi-layered acidity that commercial cultures simply cannot replicate. Moving forward, the brewery aims to standardize the exact controls needed to manage these unpredictable wild strains, systematically increasing their ratio of Kimoto production. Sankan Shuzo survived a total collapse by refusing to chase flashy, expressive trends. Instead, they rebuilt their entire facility to do one thing perfectly: stand as the unyielding, ultimate companion to the regional dining table.